my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out of the
Step
house.
out of the house.
Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just gonna see if anybody else. Is there anybody else home?
Wait a minute, how do you come in my house?
Right there.
Look, they come into my house.
Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there. I'll explain everything after. Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant, sir?
Control 12X11. Can you hold the air? We're searching the house.
I can tell you what's in the house.
Just have a seat right there for me.
Do you have a search warrant?
We'll explain it after this.
You can't just come into my house without a search warrant.
We'll explain everything after this, ma'am. Well, that's one of the reasons why we're here. We'll explain after everything's done, after we clear the house and make sure everything's fine in there.
But why are you coming into my house without a
We'll
search warrant?
explain it after this.
But that doesn't make sense. You come into my house and do what you want, and then you tell me you don't have a
No,
warrant?
we'll explain why we did.
But don't you have to have a warrant?
Not at this moment, we don't. We're here on exigent circumstances. And I'll explain it after this, after my sergeant and the officer are done clearing the house. Is there anybody else in the house?
Yes.
2 kids?
There's a little girl.
Just one?
She's right over here.
How old is she?
She'll be 10 next week.
And she's on this side?
I have Airbnb guests over there. Probably scared them to death.
And they're on this side of the house then?
They're right over there. She's over here.
Can you get through the house that way?
Yes, they just have to go right there.
There's no other kids besides her?
No.
What's her name? Be off to, where are you at? Should be off to the left, right in there. Is it the main bedroom?
It's right there.
How do you get there from the inside?
Walk around the corner. There's a little hall, and it's the first.
Just
second
around
door
the
to
corner,
right.
down the hall.
Second door to the right.
There's a 10-year-old down that hallway in that bathroom. Where you at? I'm right here, so I'm going to be down that hall to the right.
Looks like there's 2. There's 2.
There's two.
Look like 2 in there.
There's only one.
Well, who's this at the door then? Oh, that's, never mind. Sorry, that was one of the officers. I thought it was 2. Well, it should just be 1. Just 1.
Just one, sorry.
Downstairs. Who's got one?
She said our Airbnb people were here.
They're at the Cat Scout out there.
What's that?
There's only. They're saying there's another person. There's not.
Okay.
Are you the owner of the home? Are you renting a room to somebody? Like an Airbnb? Where's that at? Is it the basement?
No.
There's just a room on the outside there? Can you access that room from inside here, inside the house? You can? Okay.
I have guests there. I assume they're there.
You know where they're from?
They said Salt Lake.
Salt Lake?
Go. Is it all there?
Yes. Explain to me again why this was not robbery.
Because it's a civil issue. You guys are family. She's been in the house before. You haven't been in the house in a year. She had interest in the items. She didn't take them with the intention to deprive you of them. Theft, that's the theft code. We have to prove intent to deprive you of the items. And that wasn't her intent in having them. So the detective sergeant said that we're not going to charge her for anything.
I'll have to do some more research on that.
You're welcome to do that. If you want to follow up with her, detective yourself.
I'll be here on Tuesday. His name's Sergeant McCoy.
So I'm understanding all this correctly. Ruby contacted you around noon and said that they had an
Yeah, around it. I don't know if that's
Sure.
exact.
That's
Yeah.
your best guess.
Said she had a family emergency.
And needed you to pick up the girls.
Yeah, she said, would you mind watching the girls while I'm gone? Because she was leaving. I said, yeah. I could do.
Okay, and then did you say to bring them to your house for today and then take it back home tonight, or to keep them here for a couple days?
She didn't say. I was just planning on bringing them home tonight.
There you go. Please sit up.
We're taking you inside the vault in Jody Hildebrand's basement, raided the same day that Ruby Franke's emaciated children were rescued from months of torture and abuse.
And then medical got there, they started cutting the stuff off him. And then you can see like the dark around his ankles, and you could smell it with the flesh.
We're hearing from a former FBI agent who says it's likely the children were held in that vault.
This had full support of life in it, basically, for however long was intended. I said running water, bathroom facilities, a bed, a refrigerator. That is for someone who's planning to live there over a prolonged period of time, and that is highly unusual.
Long before investigators found this vault in Jody Hildebrandt's basement, she was known as the founder of Connections, a program that she marketed as life coaching to build stronger relationships. In several Connections videos alongside Jody was Ruby Franke, who rose to fame as the matriarch of the 8 Passengers YouTube channel.
Crazy,
Ruby posted videos of her life with husband Kevin and their 6 children to the channel that at one point had more than 2 million followers. All that came crashing down on August 30th of last year when both women were arrested and later charged with aggravated child abuse. It was Ruby's then 12-year-old son who sounded the alarm, breaking free from duct tape shackles in Jody's home and running to a neighbor for help.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he just came from a neighbor's house, and we know there's been problems at this neighbor's house. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty. He says he just left through the porch at the neighbor's house. Her name is Jody Hildebrandt, and she lives 2 doors up the street.
Out here in Cayenne?
Yeah, out here in Cayenne, the houses are far apart, so he walked just under a block to get to our house. He rang my doorbell and asked me to call the police.
The boy's rescue was caught on Ring camera video by neighbors who made the now famous 911 call.
Yeah, there's sores around him. I think there's a good chance he's been...
He also has...
Oh, and he has it around his ankle.
As well.
And his wrist as well.
Oh, he was such a good kid.
This kid is obviously been... I think he should have been...
You got pictures? I'll take more. If you want me to send them to you.
Former CIA officer and FBI agent Tracy Walder says after getting that emergency call, first responders were prepared for anything. When first responders get a call like this, obviously you never know exactly what you're going to get into. You need to be prepared for whatever. But they get this alarming 911 call. What are they expecting when they arrive at the home? Anything is possible, right?
Right. And so basically it's a child welfare issue, right? And one of the first things that Jody does ask them, this is in another video, is do you have a warrant? And they said, we don't have to. These are exigent circumstances. And what that means is they have reason to believe that children are in dire danger within the house or have been harmed within the house. And so I would assume that officers went in there thinking that there may be injured children on the premises.
Body camera video captures first responders on the scene, both tending to the children in need. Responders go through the room that is mostly empty. It shows a fridge and a freezer with almost nothing inside, a Murphy bed that folds down from the wall, and a sink and toilet. They go through all of these drawers and cupboards and things, and most of them are empty. Why is it that most of them wouldn't have anything inside of them?
Well, obviously there's 2 explanations for that, in my opinion. I think the first is that maybe it hadn't been used in quite some time. But I also think too, if this was designed as a form of punishment, they're going to have the bare minimum in terms of essentials in there. This isn't a time for someone to eat the food that they want and be able to do the things that they want in terms of entertainment. I think that might be why as well.
We now know that as first responders arrived to the scene, Jody Hildebrandt was already on the phone with her attorney.
Open the door! Jody, you step out.
I have my attorney.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out of the
Step
house.
out of the house.
Step out of the house.
She's on the phone with her attorney as officers are arriving. They did have a bit of a heads up. And we've also talked about how there wasn't much going on in that vault. A lot of it looked like it had been cleaned out. So is it possible that she knew investigators were on their way and cleaned out the vault for any incriminating evidence?
I thought about that too, but why leave the rope? It's huge. It is a very large rope, and it was just in a drawer. It wasn't hidden in any crevice or anything like that. So that was curious to me. Certainly she may have cleaned up a bit in terms of evidence that she thought was glaring. Did she forget about the rope? Did she just not think to hide evidence in that room? It's just the rope becomes a piece of evidence later, and it's so hard to miss because of where it was found. It's odd to me that she wouldn't have tried to at least hide that.
The vault room is largely empty, except for rope that was found in a drawer. The rope proved to be a key piece of evidence, as investigators later determined the children had been bound. So at the time that investigators are finding this, do you think they're connecting the dots, so to speak?
In my opinion, yes, because they already know that children are being held against their will based off of the courageous kiddo that came forward. They already know that children are being held against their will there. And so I fully think that they expected to see some kind of restraints. And so I don't think that the discovery of the rope was surprising to them. In fact, as awful as it is, it's probably a very key and good piece of evidence for them because we know that it was used on the kids now.
Even with few items to log as evidence, Walder says first responders would have taken meticulous notes.
No, typically in a situation like that, in a small room, if you're gathering evidence, I mean, you're mapping where that evidence was found, how it was found, you're diagramming all of that, you're listing all of that because you have to enter that into evidence and out of evidence. And really, there's actually a lot to be done in a place like that. Those are the kinds of notes that they're taking. Where did we find this? What are the steps that we took in terms of bagging and tagging this evidence? But that's really what they're doing.
To Walder, the purpose of the room seems obvious. What is your hypothesis there? That this was for a doomsday prepper type situation, or it was specifically made for abusing these children?
I personally don't think that it was a doomsday prepper kind of situation. If that's the case, then it would have been probably at a different location. And it also probably would have been stocked with much more. Typically, when we see those doomsday type of facilities, they're full of non-perishable foods, water, oxygen supplies, those kinds of things. That's not unusual to see in those. In my opinion, again, just my opinion, this is designed as a form of punishment. There's a door safe on the other side of it. That's designed to keep someone in, not let someone go out. And so to me, this is almost like a penalty box.
And according to Walder, the kids were likely held in this so-called penalty box.
I definitely think that children were held in there. Someone spent some money in terms of making this room, and I have no doubt that it had been used. I don't know how recently, I can't remember.
Yo, I honestly, I don't know what to say about this video. This is crazy. A mother who treats bad their kids, that's bad. That was really, really, really bad. But anyways, yo, subscribe if y'all enjoy. Turn on the bell on too. Yo, there's a part two. There's a part two because there's more. It's not just this. It's more to this. It's more to this. I didn't want to make the video so long so y'all don't get bored or whatever. So yo, there's a part two. So subscribe if you want to see the part two. And yeah, peace.